We have different methods of expressing or explaining our feeling or our thinking. Dance is one of the ways to express ourselves. Good afternoon to everyone who is present here. I, Chaitra Nayak, is presenting before you a talk on journey of dance. Dance is a performing art. It is described in many ways. It is when people move to a musical rhythm. They may be alone or in a group. The dance may be an informal play, a part of a ritual, or a part of a professional performance. For some people, dancing makes them feel relaxed, content, and whole. For others, the act of dancing brings them close to a state of self-actualization, spiritual completeness, and a state of mind-body harmony. It is dance. Dance teaches the importance of movement and fitness in a variety of ways through a variety of disciplines. People dance for all kinds of reasons: to mourn, to celebrate, to thank, to heal, to preserve cultural heritage, to assert individuality, to provoke, and to entertain. Dance awakens new perception in children, which help them learn and think in new ways. Children need to express and communicate their ideas and to be given the opportunity to make creative decisions even at young age. Now let us see what are the benefits and advantages of dancing. Each and every form of dance is very important. Classical dance plays its own role. It is not only the art of quintessence of beauty, power, but also an attraction to achieve divine power through it. Dance is a form of meditation and prayer that keeps our mind peaceful. Let us see what are the different advantages of dancing. The first advantage which we can quote is flexibility. Flexible and supple muscles go a long way in keeping us fit. Regular dancing enables muscles to flex and straighten, helping them to gain agility of body. The next advantage what we can find is strength. The rigorous and momentous jerks and jives strengthen one's muscles against a dancer's own body weight. Endurance and stamina. Endurance is the capacity of muscles to keep working hard for a longer time without fatigue. The classical dancers, when they start their performances, they continuously give the performance for 1.5 hours to 3 hours. Dance, with its fast and rigorous movements, elevates heartbeats, which is in turn improves the stamina. Classical dancers always dance in various speeds. We go from the first speed till the third speed, and we come back again from the third speed to the first speed. So this improves the stamina of each dancer. Sharpening of brain. One has to remember steps to be executed after one another and control different unexpected situations that may arise in the course of dancing. There are varied situations which a dancer will be experiencing through. For example, if a performance is going on, the musicians, the live orchestra, what a dancer will be experiencing sometime, the musicians will be so involved in the music and he keeps on singing. The dancer on the stage with a performance has to be very alert and their brains has to be very sharp to continuously keep dancing for an unexpected music on the stage with the performance. sense of well-being. This is also one another advantage is that not only does dancing release good hormones, but the platform also brings you face to face with different people, increasing your social interaction and experience. A dancer or an artist has to always keep mingling and socializing with lot many people, from their audience to criticist to musician to instrumentalist and many other people. If it is a group dance, then each dancer has to coordinate and synchronize and socialize with many other people inside a group. Success in life. Dance exists today as a form of art, as a medium of expression and non-verbal communication, and as an exercise regime. Now let us see how this dance was originated. Dance closely follows the development of human race. Since the earliest times of our existence, far before the creation of first modern civilization, dance served as an irreplaceable way of expressing human thoughts and emotion. The earliest findings have pinpointed the origins of ancient dances in 9,000 years old in India and 5,000 years old in Egypt. Dances performed in India are said to have their origin in dances and rituals of the period of the Vedas, which date back to 1000 BC. The earliest Indian religious texts like the Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvana Veda, the dance texts like Natya Shastra, Abhinaya Darpana, Sangeeta Ratnakara describe creation in terms of dance. In Hindu mythology, a dance by Shiva creates and also destroys the universe. Let us see few mythological facts and stories how dance actually originated. Long before, when Devas, Indra, Asuras and celestial beings were there, they had a question that these Vedas and spiritual knowledge is not understood by the common people in earth. Due to this complexity and conditions, the king of the Devas, Indra, appealed to Brahma, asking for a solution where a dutiful life can be led by the common person in the earth. And what are the different solutions or how a person can understand his dutiful life in a very simple words? Brahma thought for a while and then took knowledge from Rig Veda, melody or music from Samaveda, Abhinaya or mind from Yajurveda, Rasa or emotional aspect from Atharvana Veda. He then mixed all these different knowledges, different aspects of different Vedas and created the fifth Veda called as Natya Veda. The art of dance is believed to grant dutiful life, that is dharma, wealth, artha, enjoyment, that is kama, as well as liberation, which is moksha. This art also promotes fame, self-confidence, fortune, and cleverness, granting peace, patience, liberty, and pleasure, and doing away with misery, affection, sorrow, despondency. Brahma then instructed a mortal sage, Bharata Muni, endowed with divine knowledge, to put his fifth Veda into practice. Bharata had the distinction and an unusual advantage of having fathered 100 sons, and with their help he set to work. However, he soon realized that his projection would be a poor thing if it figured only men. It needed women as well to make it fully representative. Brahma solved this problem of Bharata Muni by creating 23 Apsaras, the celestial women, and assisted Bharata in his work. Bharata Muni, with the help of his 100 disciples and other 23 celestial women, exhibited the dance form in front of Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati. Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati, seeing the exhibition from Bharata Muni and his disciples, taught him the Tandava Nritya, the masculine form of dance, to Bharata Muni and his disciples. Goddess Parvati added on to it by Lasya, the graceful movements of women. Now, after Bharata Muni and the 100 disciples with 23 celestial women learning these dances, how it has to be propagated to earth? This was a question. And then the propagation started. Lord Shiva and Parvati taught these various dance forms and knowledge to Mahaganapati, Subramanya, and to Usha, the wife of sun god. These people, they started propagating the dance onto the earth. The Kshatriya women from north, Vaishya from middle, musicians from south, and Gopikas from Dwarka derived this beautiful art from Usha and then started experiencing, explorating, transforming, and contributing in the form of art in earth. Slowly then, Nandi, Shukracharya, Valmiki Rishi, Narada, Hanuman, Tamburu, Kohalar, and other scholars propagated this art to the world. And slowly, the art form of dance was propagated onto the earth, and everybody started the movements and dancing to exhibit their expressions without the verbal communication. By propagating all these forms of dance in India there were classical dance formed. We got around 8 classical dances in India. Bharatanatyam, a dance art form of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Bha means bhava, ra means raga, ta means tala. Diligence and devotion are very much necessary for learning and practicing this art form. Lord Nataraja is the presiding deity of this dance. Kuchipudi is the dance that owes its origin to the Brahmins of Kuchipudi, a village in Andhra Pradesh. It has developed as a dance drama from the 15th century. Brahmakalapam and Prahalada Charitam are some of the popular dance dramas of Kuchipudi. Kathak is a famous traditional dance of North India. Those who narrate the stories of God are called Kathakas. The dance was very popular during the Mughal period. In this dance form, there are 2 main gharanas, namely Jaipur Gharana and Lucknow Gharana. Mohiniyattam. This is another traditional classical dance of Kerala. Elegance is a main feature of this dance. Only women perform this dance. The word Mohini implies dazzling beauty. Sholakattu and Pandatam are the main attraction of this. The other dance forms, the classical dances, is Kathakali. This is a famous traditional dance of Kerala. It is performed by selecting themes from Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Bhagavata. This is a classical dance performed only by men. In this dance, there are 3 types of characters, namely Rajasika, Tamasika, and Satvika. Demon's role is very popular in this dance. The next classical dance is Odissi. This is a dance from Orissa. The history of this dance dates back to 3rd century BC. According to the Rani Gupta inscription, there are many dance sculptures pertaining to this dance in Bhubaneswar and Konark temple. Manipuri. This is the dance from Manipur. Ras dance is the main part of this dance and it's the main attraction. Themes of this dance is Krishna Leela, Vritras, Maharas, Kunjras, etc. Rabindranath Tagore gave a new life to this dance. Since then, it's very popular all over the world. Satriya. This was a dance form which was introduced in 15th century by the great Vaishnava saint and reformer of Assam. Mahapurusha Shankara Deva, who was a powerful medium, thought that it is a powerful medium and propagation of a Vaishnava faith is through Satriya. Having all these Indian classical dances in India, slowly we can understand the history of dance. How the dance actually changed from period to period. After the propagation of dance in earth, in India, dance took its own formation in different periods. Dance had witnessed prehistoric period, Vedic period, which includes the Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvana Veda, epic period, where the two major epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, played the very important role. Kingdoms, many kingdoms who ruled India gave their wonderful contributions in the art. Next came the Mughal period and the British period. And what is prehistoric period, how this affected and how this helped being the history of dance. Prehistoric period, or it is also called as the age of unrecorded history. In the beginning of the world, birds and animals could have rhythmically moved or danced according to the conditions of nature. Peacocks must have danced pleasing with the climatic conditions. In the same way, in order to express his joy and sorrow, man tried to shout or wail or clap his hands or show some gestures or stamp his feet. When man started to make noise in different pitches, it slowly led to the origin of music. Jumping, clapping hands, showing different gestures led to the origin of the dance. Even before language came into existence, dance was born from the symbols they showed through the movements of the body and hands. When man was living in group, hunting was basically essential for his life. And because the hunting was very essential for his life, he would have done various gestures to call the group fellow mates, or through hunt the animals, or through show some gestures when the animals are far away, etc. Through these gestures and movements, slowly the dance had begun. The next came the Vedic period. Veda is the earliest written record of the Indian life. The Vedic literature sheds light on the dance and music of these far-off ages. In the Veda, as the mythology says, the four major Vedas which was already present, there were some features, elements taken from these Vedas and created a fifth Veda known as Natya Veda, where it explains about the general aspects of dance, theatre, music, etc. The next period was the epic period. Epic period stands as a milestone for dance. The major two epics which had made a lot of contribution was Ramayana and Mahabharata. Apsaras took the place of dancers to tempt the sages. Ramayana, it is described that the people in town danced for joys and sorrows. There were small stories which was depicted in Ramayana like Kanda stories. The various stories explains and describes about various aspects of Ramayana. And the dancers and the women had to explain it to the next part as in the movements and gestures. In the Sundara Kanda, the Kanda of Ramayana, it explains the qualities of Ravana. It might be told that the Vanaras or the monkeys who had seen Ravana and his qualities had to describe about Ravana to Rama. So they would have used some gestures or movements or danced. In the Ayodhya Kanda, when Rama became the Yuvaraja, the people of the town in Ayodhya danced and sang in the joy and happiness. Kishkinda Kanda, where the Vanaras are present, the monkeys, these Vanaras would have been more happy when Rama entered Kishkinda or when they got their king Sugriva. And they were so happy that they jumped, clapped their hands and done a various movements which turned itself into the dance. In Mahabharata also there are a lot of proof which tells that dance did exist. Urvashi and Menaka dances upon earth for Pururuva and Vishwamitra named sage. It is also described that Arjuna is dancing with Subhadra in the happiness of his marriage. It is also told in a part of a story that Arjuna acted as a dance teacher during his Agnatavasa. Krishna, who undoubtedly danced with Gopikas in all his Ras Leelas. He also danced with all his wives and described various stories. Moving on to the kingdoms. There were a lot of kings, lot of emperors who made a great contributions in the field of dance. Few of them are like Pallava, Chera, Chola, Vijayanagara, Nayakas and many more. The Pallava kingdom. In Pallava kingdom there was a ruler known Simhavishnu who did wonderful contributions in the art forms. He sculpted the sculptures in the temples. In the Chera period, the Shilapatikaram, a record of an ancient Tamil literature, was composed. In the Chola period, there were 108 karnas depicted in the temple. These 108 karnas, the karnas are the movements of a woman or the posture depicting the hand, limb and hip movement of a woman. Vijayanagara, these were the major emperors who helped in the great contribution in the field of art. In the Vijayanagara emperor, the dancers, musicians, craftsmen were given a huge importance. The Dashera festival was actually taken as a very important festival in Vijayanagara Empire. And all the dancing women of the kingdom were summoned during this festival. There was Nayaka period also, in which the rich culture of the art evolved. Lot of dance items which we can see today was composed and choreographed during this Nayaka period. Raghunatha Nayaka, a ruler of Nayaka dynasty, was a huge ruler who composed many kavyas. Today in Bharatanatyam Margam, that is in the curriculum, the dances whichever we see, the padams, the varnams, tilanas, javalis, etc., which describes various emotional abhinaya aspects, were all composed during the Nayaka period. And then slowly the British period and the Mughal period started. What what happened during this period? During this period, the declining of the art emerged. The Mughal period was called as the Dark Age. During the medieval age of 1100 to 1500 AD, the art of dance declined. Political confusion invaded Muslim invasion. Islam prohibited dancing. None of the sultans of Delhi provided patronage to it, though some of them enjoyed it personally, and dance could not get a little better treatment from them. Hindus regarded it as one of the fine arts. The Muslims accepted it as a means of recreation only. There were huge causes for the decline of the fine arts during the Mughal and British period. When the British had replaced the Mughals, the new rulers paid no heed to the development of fine arts and artists. Absence of royal patronage and the British policy of indifference arrested the growth of the fine arts. With the Western contact, Indian masses began like cheap Western art. There was no place for music and dance in the British system of education. Several Indians became ignorant of the symbols and tradition of the fine arts. The art of dance no more remained respectable in the society. The society in general felt that dance was a profession to be pursued by the lowered women. In other circumstances, we can tell the dance had its declining stage. In the Tamil Nadu, the home of Bharatanatyam, the art had reached a stage of near extinction. Devdasis were looked down upon as prostitutes. It had reached a very lower stage. And this way, the dark age of dance had already started. The 15th, the 17th to 20th century was a very declining age for the performing arts in India. Slowly then, the golden era started. During the second half of 19th century and the first half of 20th century, there were a huge lot of many people who contributed, explored and reinvented dance. Muthulakshmi Reddy struggled a lot and succeeded in passing a bill in the State Assembly to abolish the system of Devdasis. Miss Rama Tirthamal, belonging to a Devdasis family, joined in the self-help movement and worked hard for the welfare of the Devdasis. In the kingdom period, during the dynasties when they were ruling, the Devdasis had got a huge lot of importance. The Devdasis just means that they are the servants of the god. The Devdasis used to stay in the temple, learn all the 64 forms of the art, serve their whole life till the last breath to the god. They were hugely respected by the people, by the society and by the kings. They were always treated equivalent to the god. But then when the Britishers invaded India and lot many Devdasis had to take shelters under the king, they were sent to the foreign sovereigns to serve them, and slowly the Devdasis were treated as prostitutes. And because Devdasis also had to lead a life, they did not have any other way to lead their life. The quotations were also seen them in a very bad stage. And during all this process, there were so many people who contributed and reinvented the dance. The revival of Bharatanatyam started. There were so many people who contributed in this form. Rukmini Devi Arundale, who is also called the mother of Bharatanatyam, she was born and brought up in the Brahmin cult. She took forward her dance, the interest in the dance. The higher middle class family where she belonged to, her dad sent her to Russia to learn ballet. When she was learning ballet from the great artist Anna Pavlova, she got enlightened by Anna Pavlova's word, telling that, why don't you explore the rich form of art in India? Why are you learning a Western art when you itself can explore a huge prospered art in India? This enlightened Rukmini Devi, and she came back to India, explored the Bharatanatyam art form, which was called as Sadir or Desi Atam. She learnt Bharatanatyam, which was renamed, but she learnt Sadar from the Devdasis, gave it a proper format, a framework was built by Rukmini Devi, and the extra aspects which was attached to this Desi Atam or Sadir was being removed, and devotional aspect was made as the main ingredient of this dance art form. She gave many lecture demonstrations in public. She married Annie Besant, who helped her in a very huge manner. She joined hands with many other people like Krishna Iyer, Muthuswami Dikshitar, etc. She built a Kalakshetra school of dance in Chennai, which is running even today. This is the only school in all over India which runs in a Gurukula system, contributing in the field of art. Krishna Iyer is one of the other huge artists who helped in reinventing the dance form. Krishna Iyer was also from a Brahmin cult where his society was moved away from this art form. But Krishna Iyer made an attempt to making up himself as a woman and exhibiting the dance form in the public. He gave the lecture demonstrations, face-to-face learning, and many other activities were conducted to explore this dance art form and tell the importance of our Indian classical dances. And slowly the revival of Bharatanatyam started. One of the other major contributions were also from Tanjavur brothers who were present in the kingdom period. These brothers were all in the art form, either in the music or instrumental or dancing. They formed a proper framework and gave a proper curriculum and stated what has to be learned after what item. The basic movements, the steps in Bharatanatyam was given by Tanjavur brothers and practiced by Rukmini Devi Arundale and was taken it forward. When all these things were happening, there were other different forms of dance which was cultivated and which was explored in all over India. There were so many dances which came into existence and so many dances got its new name. There were worship dances like Bharatanatyam where the devotional aspect is the main ingredient in this dance, which is used to please God through its prayers. There were court dances which is used for entertain the kings and scholars like Kathak and other dances. There were Bhagavata dances, which is Kurvanji, Yakshagana, Bhagavata Mela, Harikate, etc., where a small stories were depicted in the movement of gestures, music, and dance. There were folk dances performed, which was Kolata, Gobbi, Kamsale, etc., which was done by the common people for giving the moral stories or the human values. There were tribal dances like Nagavasi, Oriyan, Bhil, etc., which were danced by the tribal people for experiencing and communicating with the world. There were other forms of dances which were slowly taking birth in different parts of India. In Maharashtra, Lavani used to take place. Lavani is a dance form which is done by the fisherwomen. In Gujarat, Garba had taken its origin. In Rajasthan, Ghumar dance was taken as its origin. We can witness Ghumar dance in the Bollywood movie Padmavat, where the wed bride, will dance with heavy gown or heavy lehengas. In the marriage festivals, when the bride and the family, the women, when they dance, that dance was named as Ghumar dance. In Kashmir, Damhal dance had taken its place. Punjab, Bhangra dance had taken its place. Uttar Pradesh, the Kathak, being a classical dance, was also considered as a traditional dance art form. In Bihar, Jhumari, Domkach were the important dances which had taken its place and origin. In Assam, during the Sankranti festival or the Pongal festival, which we tell in South India, they used to dance as Bihu dance. The same dance with different aspect was given a name as Chau in Bengal. In Manipur, the classical dance was also considered as a traditional dance, and the Manipuri was a dance form which was taken. The Ras Leela, the love between the Krishna and the Radha, and the love stories of Krishna with Gopikas, these were the main ingredients in the Manipuri dances. In Orissa, Gotipuwa, Dalkai were the important dances. There were many people who invented, reinvented, originated, made a history, explored and transformed the various kind of dance art forms in different parts of India. I just gave few examples of the people who revived the Bharatanatyam, but there were many peoples in different parts of the country who are also contributing in the form of art. A huge lot of questions to the audience that what are the reasons to learn these Indian classical dance? What can I gain? Why should I learn? The reasons which I want to quote is that you wish that you were more patient. In this life, in the age of this technology and speed, man should always have patience, and dancers are very more patient, because I would like to tell few instances of my own performances or the general aspects in which I can quote that we have to be more patient. Is that each classical dance poses which we exhibit, we stand in the same pose for at least for 1 minute. And the minute a student starts learning the Indian classical dance, he or she will be taught the same step till the perfection, from the tip of their head till the tip of the toe. The perfection, what is needed, will be implicated onto the student. You could focus on the present. The man's mind is always a monkey mind. It keeps getting distracted. It keeps moving from one place to another, thinking about one thing to other thing. But dancers will always be focused on the present, because the posture, whatever we give, the movements, whatever we do, our mind will be so alert to know, to hear, to see for the next minute of the performance or the next minute of the posture. You could be healthier. Rather than going to these gyms and doing many workouts, the dancers will gain the exercises, the cardio exercises and the breathing exercises just by doing the Indian classical dance. The power of Indian classical dance is so much that we just dance for 15 to 20 minutes. There is at least 300 to 400 calories getting burnt. There are few dances in Bharatanatyam which will stretch up till 25 to 30 minutes, which is called as Varnam, where every aspect of the body, internally, externally, the dancer will be involved in the dance. The emotions will be exhibited, the rasas or the bhavas which will be emoted. The hand movements, limb movements, neck movements, eye movements, everything will be involved. What more do exercise a dancer need? You wish you were more disciplined. If you are not a dancer, to gain the discipline, it becomes a very difficult task, and the children will feel discipline is a torture. But for a dancer, the time you start dancing, indirectly the discipline also is cultivated inside a dancer. How does this happen? This happens because when a dancer or when a student learns dance from his teacher, he has to go home and practice for the particular perfection which is needed. So when the practice is being done, as the quote says, practice makes man perfect, and without the practice, dance cannot be cultivated into the body. There are other aspects also, like timing, the rhythm, the musical aspects, the beats in which the dancer has to dance, the movements or the rhythm a dancer has to catch. As I told in the starting, the dancer has to take all the three speeds of dance. So when a dancer is exhibiting the movements in all the three speeds, they will be more conscious about the discipline, about the Anga Shuddhi, which is the hand movements, which is the Hasta Mudras, etc. There has to be coordination and synchronization in the group dances. So automatically a dancer would be learning the discipline. You could exercise more of your left or right brain. Dancer, as you can see in the depicted picture, each one of the hands or legs or eyes is depicting a different thing. So when you want to move your right hand and your left leg simultaneously, automatically your brain starts working. A dancer learns the head, neck, limb movements coordination at the same time. You could stop reacting. In the daily life of all us, we would be experiencing anger, sadness, happiness, jealousy, lust, etc. But while performing the different emotions, we will understand the connection between the emotion, mind, and body, which will stop a dancer from reacting to the materialistic world and acting more productively for the given emotion. You could be more flexible. The dancers will be toned their body, their pelvis, thighs, torso, and so on in their body for each and every movement of the dance. So automatically the dancer will be more flexible. You could tap and sway easily. The Indian classical dance have such a power that the Indian classical dance give a musical rhythm and the conscious to a dancer, to a learner, in such a way that once we learn any of the Indian classical dance art form, it is very easy to get into the rhythm and move to the next form of dance very easily. You wish to grow spiritually. The very amazing part of Indian classical dance is that they give you an understanding of the body to release from the body. I sounded complicated? Okay, I repeat. The Indian classical dance makes you an understanding of the body to release from the body. As we can communicate with rasa, the emotional aspects, and when we are very thorough with the basics in Bharatanatyam, Slowly, we understand the materialistic world, the emotions which is in the earth, and what is the ultimate purpose of our living. And slowly, we grow spiritually also. Through the basics of the dance, we are already beyond the body. So, these are the various reasons the Indian classical dance helps an individual to grow in a very beautiful manner and lead a very happy, joyous, patient life all through it. Bharatanatyam or dance is all about vigor, speed, and geometry. By that one humble submission to Lord Shiva. Shiva, the liberator who liberates us from 6 vices that each one of us are constantly ruled by: lust, anger, greed, desire, ego, and jealousy. Dance is not just a performing art. It helped me further to dwell deeper with dance and enabled me to deeper understanding that art presides artist, aesthetic presides beauty, attitude presides altitude, excellence presides success, and humanity presides else. Dance is an everyday living experience. In this moment, live with it, in it. Let's all keep dancing. Through any gestures, through any movements, through any experience, through any communication. Live the moment, dance in the moment. I would like to thank my gurus, Srimati Srividya Anand, Dr. Dwarita Vishwanath, for teaching me and making me learn this wonderful, beautiful art form. My parents, who has never stopped me by learning or to pursue this beautiful art. Today, my in-laws, my husband, who is always encouraging me and supporting me to take forward this particular art form. Last but not the least, today all the applicants who are here to hear a small talk on the knowledge which I have gained, and I tried to explain my best. Thank you so much. Thank you one and all.